Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we have got the second rendition of the latest update. Inside of Outriders there were some absolutely huge changes, so if you haven't checked that out already, I'll leave the annotation in the top right corner of the screen right now, or you'll find the link down in the description to go through all of the main patch notes. And today in this video we're going to be going over the big balance changes, because there was just so much inside of this update that we had to break it down into two, just so you guys could get the bits and bobs that you wanted from each and not have to put you guys through the basis of like a half an hour to 45-minute video. It's just not the way that I operate, so hopefully you guys do appreciate this and we can dive in. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on, and like we stated in the last video, if you guys want to join a bunch of like-minded Outriders like yourselves, around 500 people generated in 2 weeks, Discord link is down in the description. Make sure you go and check that out. And we go live on Twitch quite frequently at the minute. We are a little bit ram-packed on the schedule, but we are going to be hammering back in as of next week, so check the link out to the Twitch channel down in the description as well. With that being said, let's dive into the World Slayer patch notes for the main balance changes. Now, there is a massive paragraph here which we're going to break down real quick before we dive in. The Archon has posted up a preamble saying that all changes made in today's patch have been very carefully considered, and many of them are the result of a direct feedback and discussion with and within the community. For additional context around what we choose to address, a few weeks after World Slayer had launched and we had been able to gather enough data, we drew up a full view of which PAX nodes were being used and what percentage of people were using them in a popular player population. There was a massive motive around 3 of the main characters. The Devastator, Pyromancer and the Technomancer trees were all utilized to pretty much identical on every build for each player, but the Trickster actually had the nodes working at about a 25% pick average, which was really interesting to see, and a very interesting motive altogether, which is I presume where they want all the other characters to be at as well, so that nobody's really using all of the same PAX nodes within the same tree at any one time. Now, as ever, their goal has been, and that they want players to have much choice and as many viable build options as possible. When new players join Outriders, we do not want there to be a single answer to questions regarding what build should I play. And this was something which was quite huge during the first year of Outriders, so it's a really good motive for them to start working into. As we already know, they've started really honing in on the build creativity on this thing, and they have already done quite a good job with a good few builds in each class, bar the Technomancer, which has got numerous builds that you guys could utilize to be completely overpowered. They do go on to say that they hope you will enjoy the new balancing in Outriders World Slayer, and they'll see you in Enoch. Now, like we stated, we did go through all of the main balance changes as an overall. If you guys want to check all of that stuff out with regards to the Apocalypse tiers, anomaly changes and all that sort of stuff, go feel free. The link is down in the description. But we're going to be diving into a load of the balance changes here. Now, there are 2 prominent ones that you guys will notice have got a few more notes than others, and that is the Devastator and the Pyromancer, with them being absolutely broken as an overall regard. The legendary sets have all had a massive change, with a load of the overall abilities having changed as well. So we're not going to break all of these down. I'm going to be selecting a few bits and bobs which I do notice are probably the main source of any changes. As we can see, we've got Earthen Shell, which has got a new added cooldown for 0.5 seconds, and again, this is a very minute one, but you will notice a lot here within the anomaly power differences. Multi-strike and the terms of engagement now stored damage is now capped at 700% of anomaly power, which we all know anomaly power is pretty much the forsake and the front liner for all builds at the minute. Anomaly power is something which is causing the most amount of damage, and they've capped those to there. We've also got an increased damage scaling from 30 to 50% of anomaly power on impact point as well. Finishing Touch has got an increase the ammo to weapon damage coefficient provided by this node, and we've got a few other bits and bobs here which has got some changes. Increase the base anomaly power and resistance piercing from 6 to 10% in obliteration. These are essentially all of the big node changes that you will notice with regards to the PAX trees, and these are quite anomaly power focused. We've got Mighty Tank, which increases the percentage cap from 40 to 50 for both anomaly power and firepower expansions. Now, the reason for this is so that they can get a bit of a differentiation within the whole motive of what you're going to be using. Despair is a huge move, which we are all utilizing as a Devastator at some stage or another, and they've reduced the percentage of its anomaly damage multiplier from 100 to 30%, which is massive, and is really going to knock down those Devastators' main abilities at the moment, because Despair is something that you use with inside of Gravity Leap, which causes a massive move to cause as much damage as you possibly can. We've got the Bullet Acceleration increasing the base damage from 33 to 60, and we've got the strongest first increasing the damage to an enemy within the highest HP from 50 to 75%. So you can see where they're trying to make the alterations to make it so that you essentially have a bit more of a diverse attribute with builds. Now, Technomancer, this is something which I will always have a bit more of a know-how for, because I main Technomancer and I've utilized Trickster quite a lot. Devastator and Pyromancer not too savvy on, as I haven't really been on them too much, but they have reduced the cooldown for Kinetic Converter, which was gone from 5 seconds to 1 second, which is huge and absolutely amazing. Twin Reapers increased echo damage from 25 to 35%, again a very big move indeed. We've got loads of stuff here within the Blight Fire. This is something which a lot of you guys will want to hear about, because you've obviously got a lot of Blightfire builds out there, but they fixed a bug that can cause Technomancer's Flame Leaper's Blightfire set bonus to consume and trigger off toxic that has been applied by others, which in turn denied those players their application of toxic itself, which is absolutely huge. And they've also fixed a bug that prevented toxic multiplier mods from correctly working when applied to Blightfire, which again, pretty damn huge. The Downpour legendary set wasn't one that I like utilizing all too much, although they have scaled the clusters of the increase from 100% to 115% of anomaly power, which essentially in turn says that they are increasing the cluster scaling as a comparison for some still visible issues with targeting, time travel and detonation time of shrapnel. Pyromancer, again, not something I'm too savvy on, but there are a lot of damage multipliers inside of this. If you guys want a quick breakdown of it, I'll make sure I leave the link down in the description for you guys to check it out. But there are a lot of conversion rates inside of this, including the Solar Flarers increases critical damage per stack from 10 to 15%. We've got the Master Exploder reduces its conversion rate from 100 to 50, which sounds like some very big alterations to say the least. There are a lot of offset changes and a lot of things that you guys really want to kind of look into, with the legendary sets for Reforged and Torture having big changes. Increase the thermal bomb damage from 100 to 200, and increase the Feed the Flames damage from 100 to 200% inside of the Reforged legendary set, which means that you guys might want to start looking into the Reforged legendary set a little bit more, rather than just having the standardized Lava Leech and such. The Heat Seeker as well was something which was quite big, so this is something which will be quite interesting to see, to say the least, on how you guys can utilize your Reforged sets nicely. They've also, in the Torturer legendary set, increased the damage from 30% to 50%, shared across the board. So again, very interesting indeed. Trickster has had quite a little push as well, a very small one, but we've already know that there's been some very big changes with Hunt the Prey, and we've got a lot of fixes inside of that, so we've still got a bit of a bonus for the Trickster as it goes. They've got some changes to a lot of the general spike changes, the Temporal Blade, the base cooldown reduction from 19.8 to 16.8, a very good one. But why they've done that is they state that they looked at the anomaly power builds which run a singular damage source, Temporal Blade, and this change is a slight push to make it combat loop more fluent through faster access of Temporal Blade, meaning that you guys and myself, because this is my build, I like using the slasher build, the Temporal Blade is now going to become a little bit more relevant and a lot more accessible inside of your rotations, which I didn't expect them to actually go alongside of, but it's kind of interesting how they've panned that one out, to say the least. There are a lot of balance changes in all classes, including all of like the base changes on the standardized sets and stuff like that. The self-medication mod, we already know, has had its bit of its deduction and stuff like that. Dark Sacrifice has also had its health drain changes, and the increased damage boost has been put up by 10% as well. Killing Spree, another mod which a lot of people have still been using, increases the damage boost perk from 10 to 13%. Very minute. But we can see here that Fortress has increased its damage damage boost from 20 to 25 at maximum stacks, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Fortress was always pretty overpowered anyway. The reason for that is they're restoring some of the offensive power it previously lost. It's basically just saying that they're making it relatively OP again. Other ones, such as Embalmer's Rage, we've got reverted this mod back to being a kill shot mod rather than a critical shot mod, which is, again, not very good, but it's just one of those neither here nor there. It stopped the Embalmer's Rage modification adjustment alongside Mage's Rage, but we already know that that change is definitely coming at some point in this patch update. And they've got anomaly power class nodes, increase the anomaly power from value from 10 to 15, and the weapon damage class nodes from 8 to 15 as well. There are some very, very big changes inside of this, and they did make changes to Mage's Rage, and there has been a bit of an alteration. There is a main YouTuber that I watch with regards to these sort of changes, and I think it's Gamer J. I'll leave his link down in the description. He has done some changes and made some comparisons from before to after, and it does seem to be significantly enlarged out, so it's kind of interesting to see how that one's going to pan out. But as an overall, there are a lot of small changes, a lot of big changes, a lot of number differentiations, and you guys are going to really want to try out a lot of different legendary sets and a lot of different moves, and going in for some new builds is definitely going to be something you're going to see a lot here on YouTube over the next couple of weeks. People are going to be coming up with all sorts of crazy ass things, and we know that that's the case. So far, no big breaks in the game though, which is really, really good. It's nice to know that they're able to make these patch changes and not destroy everything inside of the coding. So it's really, really interesting for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It's been amazing. I'm really, really excited to see what the next week or two brings with this update, and we'll see where we go. Thanks again for watching, guys. Appreciate your faces, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.